Can Thomas Crooks have approached from two sides at once? Of course, he couldn't have, and we're going to debunk this today. Yes, we are back at the attempted assassination of Donald Trump that turned out to be a complete fake. July 13, 24 was just like January 6, 21. It was a coup for power by Donald Trump. Hello and welcome. Yeah, Paulo Herrera wrote me a great comment. Have you ever wondered why we never really got any recordings from anyone on the bleachers side facing Crooks? I think we only got one brief clip of a recording from that side. So this is what Paulo is referring to, the point of view video by the wounded victim, James Copenhaver. I guess most of you have seen that. You see here a walking head, and this head is supposed to have been the head of Thomas Crooks. This is what they wanted to make us believe at Fox News Digital. I took the liberty to sketch out this camera perspective onto this map. And here we can see that the blue line is this line from this corner of the building back here, which is here, same corner of the building. And this ventilation pipe here is the second ventilation pipe of these 1, 2, 3, 4 ventilation pipes. 1, 2, so this is the second ventilation pipe. And this is the direct line that Thomas Crooks would have needed to shoot from to graze Donald's ear and hit James Copenhaver, because this is a point of view video by James Copenhaver. But this head here walks just until the corner of this building, and then it disappears, and then it pops up a couple of seconds later here. Let's watch it. Disappears, and then it appears a couple of seconds later here. Yeah. And so here, this red circle is the position here or back here. So we cannot really tell, was he supposed to have been already crawling there, or was he standing back here? So was he crawling here or standing back here? We don't know what they wanted to make us believe, but all of this is a deepfake anyway, as we will see, because this walking here, I sketched it out here, so watch here and here, was exactly in this line. This is a big problem. How should Thomas Crooks even have come to this position here on the roof? This was a really big question in the aftermath of the shooting. Very early on, in July 15 or something, they wanted to make us believe, yeah, Tom Crooks just climbed onto the building here. He used some ventilators here, and then he climbed onto the building, and then he somehow crawled here to his shooting position. And then they tried to reenact this, and nobody could climb up here using some ventilators here that they claimed. And then they said, no, Thomas Crooks used this structure right here, and he climbed on top of this roof here, and then he walked over here, and then he walked over this roof to this position. And this was a little later, maybe 2 weeks later, on July 30. This was what this video was about. This point of view video was supposed to confirm this walking path of Thomas Crooks. And then they tried to reenact this. They tried to have agents of the Secret Service or of the police or of the FBI climb up this structure here, and they couldn't do it. Nobody could climb up this structure onto that roof with a backpack or even without a backpack. And then they had to come up with a new narrative, and somehow people forgot, journalists forgot, Democrats forgot that they had already given us this point of view video by James Copenhaver, where they had already confirmed that Thomas Crooks walked over this roof here. Yeah, and then sometime later in October, they gave us this video.
We will play the video now.
It's already running, so you have to focus here on these moving pixels here.
This will take about 51 seconds.
This is supposed to be Thomas Crooks. And now he starts sprinting. He starts sprinting from this place to this place with a backpack that cannot even hold his rifle when it's disassembled. And now he's already here at that position. And this was their alternative narrative. Yeah, they told us that Thomas Crooks now used these ventilators here and climbed on top of this building. Then he climbed on top of this roof that is a little higher. Then he walked across here. Then he climbed down 4 feet or something. Then he climbed back up again, another 2 to 3 feet, with a backpack that cannot even hold his rifle when it's disassembled. And then he walked to this position here, and then he started sprinting to this position here. And apparently they actually believed that in the hearing on September 26, 24, when Mike Kelly presented that. But this is in conflict with the other walking path of the other deepfake. So, and Jay knows, which is a very smart woman. I also wonder why the shooter was cremated so quickly. How did Thomas Crook's body ever arrive at this roof? It will remain an eternal mystery, but to me it's very, very sure that Thomas Crooks was dead already, or he was killed lying on that roof. Maybe he was handcuffed. I don't really want to get into detail. Maybe they found a way to trick him to walk over that roof here onto his dying position. I don't know how they did it. Maybe they blackmailed him, or maybe they had a gun pointed at him. Yeah, this is the first thought that I had, but I don't know how they did it. They put his dead body here. And now let's watch these two contradicting deepfakes in all their glory. Yeah. And this is official footage, people. This is not some footage by anyone. This is the POV of James Copenhaver, who is a wounded victim, and a dash cam of a police car. So this is official footage. These are official cameras. Incredible that no one called this out so far. Yeah, Zuki confirms this. The kid was killed without questions. Another Lee Harvey. Not much more to add, yeah. Very good reasoning, Zuki. And now we have to conclude that July 13, 2024 was a refined version of January 6, 2021. It was a violent coup by Trump. Yeah, it was nothing else, people. I don't understand. Does the press in the USA have amnesia or something? I mean, it is kind of obvious that the Trump team learned from January 6, 2021, and they learned from their errors. And on July 13, they simply didn't make these errors again, but it was just the same. It was a violent coup by Trump, and this time it was successful. Donald Trump is US president now. And here we have the victims of the Trump coup, and that is Brian Sicknick, victim on January 6, 21, and we have the two other victims, that's Corey Comparatori and Thomas Crooks, and these were the victims of July 13, 2024. Rest in peace.